Hi Katie, I just watched your CC12 and it's amazing as always. Just really proud of your progress and your practices and all of your growth this cohort. So you should be very proud of yourself as well. Yeah, I'll start with all my notes and then I'll look at your notes. But I loved how you did the hand over hand. I always say in and out. I love how you were coaching her to get back to the chair. A lot of times that's when I might say the sit to spell. I feel like there was a couple times she did the left hand or right hand, so kind of feel out which one that you feel is more appropriate for her. And if it is the left hand, then put the board more over the left knee. And, good job telling her that you'll hold the board herself. Watch that pencil grip. Make sure her hips are pushed back. Good job trying to get that hand down. And then also too, because her age and newness and trickier motor stuff going on, this is when you might do, hey, we're gonna do 3 spell words and read, and then 3 words and read. And you could even just ask for the first 3 or 4 letters of a word and not the whole word. I would definitely, of course, depending on where you're at or whatever, but I always would want a rolling chair. I love how you were prompting her to get the arm, bend back all the way forward and back. And yeah, going forward, I would just probably plan on 30 minutes with her at a time and taking it nice and slow. And the tracing can be tough because it seemed a little, and I'm not obviously an expert on this, but the OCD versus loop stuff and that kind of need to complete that laddering and stuff, like sometimes I might just let it happen, but if or when I see that is starting to become a thing, I would just put the boards like on the floor or underneath my butt or just nowhere that she could touch them. And I would just, really one poke and just rip it out and just don't even let her have the opportunity to do the laddering. Let me see what you said. Yeah, I mean, that was amazing for a first time. Super normal for her to hold the board. You said and did everything I would have done. Yeah, I would definitely, ideally in a perfect world, you would just be in a small room with nothing, just a desk and 2 chairs. If she is exhibiting some self-injurious behavior, then that's when I would just keep on spelling or try and do a purposeful motor or gross motor task, or just not really bring much attention to it unless you see that she's really hurting herself pretty bad. But for the most part, I just try to ignore it. It's the tricky and tough part about this job, but you just gotta kind of push through it. If the speller walks away and won't come back and is self-injurious, then I would, I'd say, well, we'll take a minute or 2 break. Maybe that's when I would pull out a blog or a book written by an advocate and read that. Just keep feeding her brain. Think about more gross motor tasks that you can do that you can coach her through that, you know, that she could successfully do, so she could kind of feel grounded and regulated in that sense. And yeah, as hard as it is, you just kind of have to try to ignore it and not bring too much attention to it or talk about it. Let me see. Yeah, so because she's new and it's the first time, you know, I kind of let them complete that ritual or whatever it might be with the grabbing the board and tracing and laddering, but I do try and break it as soon as possible, or just get the boards out of sight, or I literally put them underneath my leg. And I even have a speller who sometimes has gone digging under my leg for the boards, and I'm just like, nope, we're not gonna do it. You poke the J and that's it. We don't need to go down the line. But yeah, as you get to know her, just feel it out, feel what's appropriate. You know how much to push and when to push, but just keep going. Keep presuming that she wants to do it, whether or not her words or body is saying otherwise. And no, from what I'm seeing, you're not missing anything. You're doing it perfectly, and I'm just so proud of you. But please, if in this whole ramble I didn't say enough, reach out via text with some specific questions. But yeah, I would just go in knowing 30 minutes, 2 or 3 words, could even just do 3 or 4 letters of each word, spell onlys. I forget if you were covering the board or not, but you could even cover half the board. I think you were. And just slow and steady. Like, it's totally fine. I feel like you haven't worked with too many girls. All my girl spellers they're just, it's a whole nother breed, because obviously, you know, girls and guys are very different. But being a girl and young and having some of that self-injurious stuff, you just want to focus on that regulation aspect and having her feel, you know, in control of her body and doing whatever you can to help in that moment, whether it's exercise or read more or guided meditation or deep breaths or anything like that.